Is a video tutorial on how to go about creating pages in your workbook that we will title The Artists of Influence. Each new piece you make that you bring to critique, you will also bring your workbook with you and open up your book and show us a 2-page spread in which you have looked at the work of another artist. And you've chosen that artist because whatever it is you're working on in the piece you're showing us, you had an influence. You did some research and found this artist that was doing something similar or something that inspired you. And so you'll share that at critique. So to learn this skill, we're all going to look at the same artist for the first entry in your book. We're all going to look at Jill Wagner. She does a lot of different kind of painting, but she's really does a huge focus on landscape. And since we're doing oil pastel landscapes, it seems perfect for us to look at her. So you're going to go to your artist of influence and go to their website. Maybe you'll find it in a book, but many students use websites. And you can click all around the website. You can see she has lots of different information. You could go to About and get just the essence of her philosophy or her ideas. You can see she's got this introductory statement about what her work is about and what's important to her. The bio, less important. Like, we really don't want a whole lot of biographical information about the artist. We mostly want you to go and look at the work. So we're going to click on landscapes. You can see the portfolio is extensive. There's lots of options. And there are different kinds of landscapes, cityscapes, waterscapes. But let's just click on landscapes. And there's a whole bunch of them here. I want you to select 4. And you're going to copy and print those images on a piece of paper that you will then cut out and glue into your book on your 2-page spread. So there'll be 2 on each page. And you're going to cut them and print them at such a size that you leave about 50% of the workbook page is open to you to write your thoughts and reflections. Okay, so don't make them teeny tiny and fill the page with writing, and don't make them gigantic and only have room for 2 sentences. Okay, you get the idea. So how do you do this? What do you say? How do you write about a work of art if you've never done it before? So let's dive into Homeward Bound, and I'm going to do a little bit of analysis on the fly here so that you understand what you need to do. So Homeward Bound, well, the first thing I notice about this is that the horizon line is very low in the composition, and that makes the sky the star of the show. And if you recall my presentation, that's one of the things I explained to you, is that horizon line placement does emphasize either your foreground or your sky, give you a sense of vast space, right, when you have a low horizon line. There's vivid color here, but I noticed that it's in the sky itself, and that the foreground is all those colors are quite muted and toned down. There's no pure hue color in the foreground and in those trees, but we have pure hue yellow going on for sure. We've got some orange and blues in the sky. So vibrant color, which is one of the things you're being asked to do in your pastel still life. I also notice that there's a lovely setup of a sense of depth and space in this painting, using the diagonal lines of the road going from wide at the base of the composition to very, very tiny. And notice that stops at the horizon line, of course, so that we do feel we're going down this road. The focal point is that little car's headlights, the car heading home. And notice that it's placed in the rule of thirds. It's 1/3 of the way over the composition. If the artist had put that disappearing point in the road with the little car right in the middle, it would be far less interesting a composition. It would feel a little trite, a little contrived. But shifting it to one side makes for a really nice composition. There's also depth set up by these light poles. So they're larger and lower in the foreground, and as they go back, they go a little higher in the composition and they get smaller. So the elements and principles of design, I've covered a few, but there are more. We could talk about line. line weight, the delicate line of the light poles, the leading lines of the road that take us back into space. You could talk about the brushwork. There's definitely a variety of brushwork depending upon what she is rendering. Line, space, form, color, texture. Yes, there's texture in those trees and those shrubs. And that's also, again, done with brushwork. So I'm going to stop there so this isn't an incredibly long video, but you get the idea. And again, I urge you to put the elements and principles of design right next to you and take each one and look and see if it applies to the painting you're looking at. And if it does, then write about that element. So this will be your first 2-page spread. When we finish with the structured aspect of the color unit and I set you loose to work independently, you will need to go and find another artist who works vibrantly in color, who is doing something similar to what you plan to bring to our final critique. So you're going to end up with 2 pages on Jill Wagner, and by the end of the color unit, you're going to have another 2 pages that relate to the piece you're making on your own. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to come and ask me. I'm happy to look at a few pieces you're interested in and give you some guidance. And I will post the due date for these 2 pages on our homework page in MyNA. Enjoy.